What's happening with you? This is the Roy C. Gilmore podcast, where real don't get no realer and it don't come with a filter. I am your host, Roy C. Gilmore. A lot of y'all may know me from telling my story about when a woman put witchcraft on me on social media. For the ones who don't know me, I'm Roy C. Gilmore, baby. I am from Jefferson County, Georgia. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I make music. I'm also a producer. You can check my music out on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Just type in Roy C. Gilmore and baby, I come up. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I love science, poetry, jazz, R&B. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't snort. I don't shoot up. I'm very much open to working with like-minded individuals, podcasters, movie producers, A&Rs, publicists, not powderheads, big backs, people who make excuses for every damn thing. When I say like-minded, I mean people who want to be successful and they don't make excuses. Disclaimer, I curse a lot sometimes. 4.5 years in the Marine Corps will do that to you. So if you sensitive, baby, I ain't for you. Go ahead and cut me off now. But on this podcast, I will be interviewing people and they will be sharing their testimonies, homie. I'm talking witchcraft survivors, domestic abuse survivors, pastors, porn stars, all types of people. If you have a testimony that you want to send, you can send it to the Roy C. Gilmore podcast at gmail.com. If you want me to promote your brand or your music up here, you can also send it to that same email. If you have any questions or comments, email me there. I check it daily, so if anything come through, I see it. My podcast is my classroom, and like any classroom, baby, there's rules. But the rules are simple. Respect me and respect my guests. If you can't do that, then you can get the hell out of the classroom. To the ones who do submit, I'm not here to judge you. I can't judge you. I ain't got a heaven or hell to put you in, baby. If you submit your testimony to me to get up here on this podcast and tell it, all I ask is that you're healed enough to tell it. If you're not healed, we will reconvene at a different time. But if you healed and you ready to tell it, holla at me. I got a little treat for y'all today, homie. I have a special guest, dog. We gonna be hearing it from a bishop today, dog, from North Carolina, North Kakalaki. And he is gonna be telling us his story of love, lust, and witchcraft. Let's get into it.
Wonderful. Yes, sir.
But just for the people watching, can you tell them your name and just the state you're from? You ain't gotta say the city.
Okay, cool. My name is Nathan, and I'm from North Carolina.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Give us just a little bit about yourself, and then you can jump into your testimony.
Well, let's see. Where do I want to start here? I started ministering maybe 2003, 2004. Became ordained as an elder at 2007. So I've been preaching for about 18 years. I was married. I got married in 2002. Was married about 20 something years. I'm now divorced. I separated from my ex-wife about 3.5 years. Been divorced probably about since July of 2024.
Okay, man.
So striking out on my own. I've been where I am now in the city I'm in now. I've been here for about 2 years, going on 2 years. I have two children, a daughter that's 17 and my son that's 21. He's autistic, but he gets around pretty good. I work in corrections. I work in corrections. I've been in corrections now going on 3 years. Before then, I was a nursing assistant. I did that for about 11.5 years, and I did that at a mental health place here. Well, it wasn't here; it was in my old town. I did mental health. I got a diverse. I don't kind of diverse. I did Amazon. I did Amazon for a little bit. I did the post office for a little bit. I did FedEx for a little bit. So yeah,
Yeah, I can
but
tell.
Yeah, but overall with the state, I got 16 years in. And so I might not retire with 30. I may do 20, 21 years and get on out of there. I know my purpose and my calling is pretty much to do what I'm doing now.
Yes, sir.
I hit a lot of pitfalls. You know how we do in life. Life happens. We do a whole
Yeah.
lot of things. We veer off the path and all that. But I find myself coming right back here. And
Yes, sir.
so, yeah. So, but that's pretty much a little brief, synopsis about me. Tabby. I love music. I love music. And I'm
Yeah.
looking at that
Yeah.
behind you, that keyboard and stuff you got. So yeah, I love music. So yeah. But yeah, just say so. Like I said, I'm trying to build up some little stuff here to really dive in to what
Yes,
my
sir.
heart really desires. So, but
I
yeah,
love it. I
yes
love it.
sir, yes sir, yes sir.
So
Yeah.
we spoke the other day a little bit about your testimony, and we
Hmm.
had to kind of cut it short because we was going deep in it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes sir.
I mean,
Yeah.
today is the day where we
Okay.
pick up and we get into the nitty gritty. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And before we even begin, man, I want you to know that this is a safe space. It ain't a zone where I'm gonna judge you or make you feel uncomfortable. And if I do,
Yeah.
please let me know.
Yes sir. Oh yeah. Yes sir. Yes sir.
But the floor is yours, man. The floor is yours.
Well, I got 27 years of things to share, so I'm gonna
Man,
try to condense some stuff down the best that I can. I was discovered. Well, my let me give a shout out to my life coach, my ego life coach, Sabrina Michelle. She's the one who was the catalyst for me finding you. And I shared my story with her, and she says, I have somebody you need to get in touch with. She said, you need to text, email something to Roy. And I was like, Roy, I don't. She said, listen, go on YouTube. I'm going to send you a clip. She said, go up there, watch him. And I think one of the first uh, clips I saw was dealing with the succubus. I said, uh-oh.
yeah.
And I kind of sat back, I kind of sat back. I said, oh. And I was like, this is interesting. So I was like, no way. So um, when I shared with her and she, we kind of relate things back together, I said, okay, all right. And so for me, 2000, it was 2000. I was working in mental health, and I wasn't married then. I was single man, and we single, we do what we do, right? I'm single man, working whatever. And for privacy, we're gonna call this person Miss Spaghetti, all right? Miss
Okay.
Spaghetti is gonna be her name,
All right.
kind of like the love jar Lacey.
Love John Lacey. Yeah.
we gonna
Yeah,
we
I
gonna call
understand.
this one we call this one
Yeah.
Miss Spaghetti. And so I was working one day, and Miss Spaghetti was just starting. She just started, and she came to my floor. And when she came to my floor, she got off the elevator. Dude, she ran straight to me and jumped on my back. I didn't know this woman from a man in the moon. She jumped on my back, and I'm like, I'm at that time I was probably 21 to 20 years old. I'm 49 now, so I was like 20, 21 years old. So she jumped on my back, so I'm like, yo, shorty, what and I'm like, yo, who this, But immediately her personality just it sucked me in, and so from there, we kind of talk here and there. She'd get off work and whatever. We kind of passing and stuff. So I found out that she was married, and I said, "Wait a minute, this woman married and acting like this?" So then my story started becoming, "Look, you married, you need to kind of chill." But it's like the more I said it, the more aggressive she became, and I'm like, "Listen, you married, da da da." Even though I was young, I was still like, "Look, you married, you need to, that that didn't help. That didn't help."
Yeah.
Intensified, and so to the point where we went out a few times, and then it started getting deeper and deeper. The conversation started changing from then there's more hand, how we do normal hand stuff,
Yeah.
and it was like she was so free. She felt free around me, I guess, or open, and she started doing stuff, and I'm like, yo, you a whole married woman, why you? And at the same time, I knew I shouldn't have been there, but it was like I wasn't trying not to be there
Right.
for whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so things happen. We kept hanging out. Then the kiss happens. Boom. Okay. She leaves, turn around, come back, kiss me again. I'm like, oh man, I'm all the way there now. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to, how do I pull back out of this? This woman is married. Da 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 da. Her story to me was she's coming out of the marriage. They were having problems. They were having issues. The worst thing, and I'm just going to tell it the way that I can, tell it for me, is the worst thing that you can do with somebody having issues in their marriage is to get in the middle of it.
Oh yeah.
Stay clear.
Oh yeah.
The best run. Look,
Yeah.
run like Joseph did in the Bible. Run. If you, if you do not,
Yeah.
do not, because and I'm trying not to be preachy, but before God starts setting up something, you have to complete something. He doesn't send you in the midst of confusion because he's not the author of confusion. The enemy is the author of confusion. And when that comes in, it's the whole man. I started having run-ins with her husband. He was pulling up at the job. He was pulling up where he thought he saw my car. All this kind of stuff was going on. But even in the midst of that, bro, I still didn't stop. It was still like, oh, so now we really finna be about this life. So now, and she has kids, or she has 3 kids, and all of that was happening. I'm trying to get to where I'm going here, so I'm kind of I had literally, the enemy had messed with my mind so much around that time that I had plotted to kill this man. In my mind, I told her, I said, if you don't deal with your ex or husband or whatever he is, I'm going to deal with him. And I was so serious. I said, I'm going to kill him. I said, your children are going to be bastards, literally. That young, my mind was like, if he really gonna find out. That's the term you use now. You gonna mess around and find out. Back then, I was like, I'm gonna take him out. I had plotted where I was gonna buy the gun. I knew the store where I was gonna go get it. I knew how much I was gonna spend. I knew the particular weapon I was gonna use. That's how much the enemy was driving my mind. So she just kind of looked at me and kind of like, no, but I'm serious. I was gonna kill him.
Yeah.
We had done took it to that level to the point where we done slept a few times. I mean, I was all the way in it. I was all the way in. And but it was something peculiar. This woman was in the church. All right. She was in the church. As far as I know to this day, she still is. But this woman was in the church, and this is what I want to say to everybody. A lot of times we think because people in the church, they don't do things. There's a lot of things that go on from the pulpit all the way to the door. There's a lot of things that go on. And I'm not downing all churches. I'm not downing all churches as being an elder. But from things I've seen, there are a lot of things, even in the churches and even in the house of God, that are spoken over people that can be deemed as witchery.
Yeah.
That's a whole that can be deemed as pronouncing things over people that are not conducive to bringing the blessing. That it's actually cursing. A lot of things that I've heard. And so just because they're in there, you can be in there and not be. You can be there but not be in there. And I'm thinking that you wouldn't think, well, for me at the time, I didn't think this, that, maybe it's just whatever. One night, and I'm trying to kind of speed a little bit. One night, I was at her apartment and we had did what we do. And this is the thing. When you're dealing with somebody that has, and I haven't even got to the succubus part, but when you're dealing with somebody that has something else going on in them, there's nothing in the bedroom that's off limits.
Right.
Nothing. It's all gas and no brakes.
Yeah.
And most men, when it's like that,
Yeah.
we ain't turning it down. We ain't turning it down. We going all the way in. But one night, but see, before that, God was dealing with me a little bit. I don't know if my conscience was starting to, because I never, even though I wasn't at the time me and her met, I really wasn't in church like that. But I was surrounded by people that was. And a lot of times my conscience, I said, I know this woman married. I got to, oh man, I need to pull back. So one particular night, brother, we had did what we did, and I was in her bed and we were sleeping. And I had a dream. In this dream, it was 5 or 6 shadowy dark figures began to attack me. And in this dream, they began to put their hands around my neck. And in this dream, I was trying to say the name Jesus. I couldn't get it out. I kept trying to say Jesus. I could not get it out. And I woke up. And when I woke up, I was like, I was literally being strangled.
Right.
And I looked over at her. There was no movement. There was no nothing. She was sleeping like it was just peaceful. Me, on the other hand, I'm gasping. Got a couple of sweat drops coming.
Yeah.
When that happened, it really was because that's never happened in my life. I had never experienced that. So when that happened, it raised my eyebrows and everything. I'm like, What in the world? And so, like I was saying, I was just kind of getting into the church. So by this time, I had a pastor, and certain things that he would minister and everything, I would kind of relate. It was like there was a tug going on, as if, God is calling me here, but this over here is saying it feels so much better to be on this side. You know what I mean? So now I'm fighting. So I'm going to church one minute, then the next minute we in the bed. Going to church one minute, the next minute we behind the building. I'm going to church for a minute, and then
Yeah.
it was on and on, just a battle. And so time went on and progressed. I still didn't stop then. We still kept dealing. And I know a lot of people may wonder, man, how you keep going back when that thing is strong like that, and
Yeah.
it's hard to pull away. I mean, we can talk and say, oh man, you should have did it, but when you in there
Yeah.
and you're a witness, when you're in there like that,
Yeah.
it's not so easy no matter what you try. Because, brother, I was going to church. I was going to Bible studies. I was going to meet. Every time the door was open, I was trying to be there.
Yeah.
But it was still, if she said one thing, if the phone rung, if she showed up, my whole mind was just, it was almost trance like. My whole thought process was just gone. No matter how much Bible I heard that day, all it took was a second from her. I was gone. I literally was gone. There was times that me and her was out. Now, see, what made me stay away from her eventually was things kept happening. The things with when I was being choked. There was one time she was at my house. Now, this is what happens when you're dealing with somebody like that and it's so driven. You really don't have respect for a whole lot of things around you.
Right.
Cause man, I was in the house with my mother, and that we still were doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
Still was doing it. And it was like it was no respect for nothing. It was no care for nothing. It was like, whatever. And one day I was laying in my bed. She was on the other side of me, and literally something grabbed me on the side, like it was trying to snatch me.
Oh man.
And I woke up, and I just took my hand and did like this. And crazy me, when I did this, I was like, devil playing. And I rolled back over
Yeah.
and went back to sleep and grabbed her. Like, yeah, I'm good. But see, if the devil can get that close to you,
Mm-hmm.
something going on.
Yep.
How is it in your life that the enemy is that close to you? He can put his hands on you. But
Mm-hmm.
see, I was so enamored by her. I didn't even play. I knew it happened. I just did my hand like this, and rolled right back over, put my arms around her, went on to sleep. That was an instance. There was a time when we was in the car at night talking in the park in my old town, and I remember sitting in the car and I was seeing shadows moving, like dark
Yeah.
figures jumping around. And I said, "Hey, you see that?" She was like, "What?" I like, "You didn't see that?" And it was like
Yeah.
moving. Finally, man, I'm getting chills telling it. I haven't told this in years.
You good, man? Do your thing.
Literally, if I get emotional, just roll with me.
It's all good.
Um, I remember sitting in the car, and that night, and them shadows was moving, and I kept asking her, "You don't see that? You don't see that?" She's like, "See what?" I was like, "They're moving. You don't see that?" And she was like, and after a while, she sat there, and then she said, "I think some bad things been going on in this park." Brother, I never been back to that park. That's in my hometown. I never been back since then. That was
Yeah.
over 20 something years ago. But that night, so from the dream when I was being choked, from the dream when I was being grabbed, from the time we was in the car in the park talking, then there was a time we was in the car again and somebody walked up on the window, a guy, and he said, "Man, is that my wife in there?" I
Mm.
was like, he was like, "Is that my wife?" And so I cut the light on in the car and he looked, he said, "Oh no, that ain't her." And then he walked strange.
That's
Then he walked
crazy.
off. When he walked off, I heard about 3 or 4 gunshots.
Mm.
Like bam, 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 bam. And I was like, was that the guy that was? I mean, because it was quiet. He come to the
Yeah.
car. When he left, all of a sudden, certain strange things just kept happening.
Yeah.
And so, like I was saying, I was just, trying to get into the church. So I was going and coming out with her and going and coming out. One day, there was a member in my old church I used to belong to. This woman, we never talked. We never had any conversation or anything. She told my former pastor a vision she had of me. And the vision was that there was a conveyor belt of black body bags of people, they was coming down like a assembly line. And so when they get to a certain place, a spot, they would zip the bag up and send it wherever it went. And she said in one of the bags, excuse me. One of the bags was coming down, and she said she saw me in the bag. And she said when she saw me in the bag, they was getting ready to zip the bag up. And she said, I put my hand on the outside and said, it's not my time to go. It's not my time to go. When she told that to my former pastor, and he called me into the office, and she shared it again with us all in there. He knew what I was dealing with. She didn't.
Right.
So when she told him that and told us all that together, I sat there just like, oh my gosh, you know. And so he told her, you know, he said thank you, whatever. She left out. Me and that woman never talked. We
Right.
never had a conversation since that day. I don't even know where she is. She could be in Japan. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
For God to be so mindful of us that He would send somebody by
Mm-hmm.
with a message or a word to tell you that knows nothing about, you have to take heed to that. And no matter how enamored, no matter how much I was caught up in whatever, I remember that day he took the whole bottle of oil and just you know how they do. They took a whole bottle of oil
Yeah.
and he went to
Oh,
pray
yeah,
and
anointing.
yeah, when the anointing me pouring oil, I'm in there crying like, oh God, I'm in there crying and carrying on. And that day, and I still fought with it though. I still fought with it because by that time our souls are not connected. We have been in the midst so long now. It's like it's hard. Even with that, it was hard to break away. I remember coming back because I know he probably got tired of me because I kept coming back to him, Pastor, da 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 da. And one night he went in tongues. I remember this. He went in tongues and he prayed. He prayed. He was praying while I was there. And I was considering marrying this woman. I was gonna marry her. With all that went on, I was gonna marry her. I had gone there for. And he was like, when he went in tongues and he came out, he said, "Now the Lord is telling me that that's not your wife." But what he said, "But it's your decision because we have free will. But the Lord is telling me that that's not your wife." Brother, I broke down again. So when I finally told her, she just looked at me with this confused look on her face, like, you know what, like this kid. She knew my former pastor to the fact that she respected him enough that she said, well, but that didn't stop her. Now that pulled. What helped me was I kept staying in church, so I cut off a whole lot of communication. And when she was at the job, she ended up getting fired. So now I don't have to see her. That makes it even easier because
Yeah.
before I was seeing her passing by and she's looking at me. And as I said previously when we was talking, she could just look. She didn't have to say anything. There was a look up there where she could just look at me and it was like, I'm gone. I don't know what it was. And she could just look at me and she could get anything. If I had it, she'd get anything. If I didn't, I'd try to find it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
it was one of them things. And so it was like once I made up my mind that this is what I'm going to do, it's like God sort of protecting and surrounding me in ways that I couldn't even imagine. Now she don't lost the job. She had to find another job, so now I don't have to see her. Boom. Now when I do see her in public, I'm going the way, or even when she's staring, I'm driving off crying because I'm trying to keep my mind. I gotta. So I end up months later. I end up meeting my ex-wife, and she was in the same church, working at the same job, working the same job, yeah. And so we end up getting married maybe 7 months later. Those 7 months turned into 20 years.
Man.
But I should not, and I say this now, I should not have got married. And I say that because I wasn't ready. What happened was I was running from what I was dealing with and was trying to find comfort in getting married. But
Yeah.
see, I put my ex-wife in a position that she didn't know anything. Now, the thing is, later on, I found out my ex-wife had a lot of trauma before we got married too.
Yeah.
So we both were, but I
Yeah.
knew, I knew. And the reason I got married under the thing of because you're in the church and you're dating. Because you're in the church and you're dating, you need to be married. That is the biggest misconception that we can tell people. That
Yeah.
because you in the church and you need to get married. Because sometimes that's not always. Sometimes we marry,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
marry the wrong way. And you be
Yeah.
like, oh man, now I'm in here. How do I do? But if you would just waited on God, not
Yeah.
to be preachy, but if you just waited on the Lord and calm
Yeah.
your flesh down, So it went a whole other way. Now, not that I'm grateful for my kids; they are a great blessing. I love my children, but I say that to say this: never let nobody pressure you into doing
Yeah.
something like that. And a lot of times leaders will do that because they feel, oh, you're dating somebody, go ahead and get married. Oh, that might not be the answer, Pastor.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait. And so I did that, knowing I wasn't over Miss Spaghetti. I knew I
Yeah.
wasn't over her. But I jumped in and got married and figured I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
it happen. And the truth of the matter is, for years, yeah, it kind of did because I was staying so busy in ministry that I was blocking out a lot of the other stuff out my mind used to dwell on. So by this time, now I'm starting to get busy in ministry. I'm starting to sing in the choir. I'm starting to preach and minister. And it's like, okay, boom, boom, boom. Now you got kids coming along the way. You having children. You're trying to, figure things out. So it helped to block out that noise from Miss Spaghetti. But a lot of times it threw that man, sometimes, yeah, well, not sometimes, a lot of times you argue, fuss. I'm just calling it what it is.
Yeah.
Argue, fuss, and and stuff. And I knew that I was just tired. I said, I'm tired. I'm trying to talk, you're not hearing me. And when you living, and I'm going to put it out there today, bro, when you living with somebody that's the narcissist, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Hey, man, it's hard because they see no wrong in themselves. You're always wrong. And there was times when I said, we have to talk and we have to communicate. I said, if there's something that is about me, I said, if it's my weight, if I'm whatever, I'm trying to put it all out there, brother. I'm trying to put it all out there. Let's try to get, and it was always no, 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 everything. No. And I'm like, I'm walking around here all day. I'm like, I know there's something. When there's something.
Yeah. You
Whenever
feel
the
it.
room shifts, you feel it. You feel
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
The
The
energy,
energy.
the
Yep.
energy is off, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I'm like, I've been saying this for months. And then what happened was the intimate part of the marriage started falling off. So when it would go a couple of weeks, it'll go months. Then it went from months to I think COVID, it went a whole year. And I'm like, wait a minute, a whole year, and I can't even. And,
Yeah.
and look, and look, bro, I didn't even want it. It didn't even have to go to the next level. Let me just hold your hand. Let me
Right.
get a
Right.
hug. I couldn't even get.
No.
I
No.
couldn't get. No, yeah, no, what?
Yeah.
What? And
Yeah.
so when you have that going on, top of, and even still, I still kept it. I still try to keep it there. Okay, fine, all right, whatever, whatever. Now I will submit to you. I'm going to be transparent today. I'm going to be transparent today. So through those periods that didn't happen, the enemy came in,
Yeah.
and I started looking at porn.
Mm-hmm.
Porn became an addiction because what I wasn't getting fulfilled in my marriage, now I'm turning to porn. I'm trying not to step outside and be with somebody in the physical, but yet porn is still another
Yeah.
form of pulling, you know what I'm saying, of pulling
Right.
you to
Right.
a whole another place. And so I'm like, I don't understand it. Now, mind you, I'm preaching, thinking, doing things in the ministry. He go home and this is what I deal with. And it's like, so I show up in church one way, I go home, they don't have no idea what I'm dealing with behind closed doors, And so this went on, went on, went on. She got a promotion on the job. And then when I saw it got worse. When she went up in the corporate, it even got even worse than that. And by then, I was like, I'm done. I went to a place of sitting in my old room, and I would just look at the TV like I would just sit there. I had bought me a recliner to put in the back room, and I would just sit there and just stare at the wall, just look at the wall, just
Yes,
look,
sir.
just look. And by that time, when you open a door for the enemy to come in, oh no, you ain't got the door. Excuse me, a crack.
Yeah.
One little crack is
Yeah.
all he needs. And
Mm-hmm.
he'll find that crack and he'll keep working on that crack till it get this big.
Yep.
All he needs is that little much to get in. And sure enough, brother, by that time, I done had depression sit in. I done had loneliness come in. Rejection done came in. Self-esteem done came in. All of these things done happen, which opens the door to all other things to happen. By this time, I done tapped out completely. I'm tapped out now. By then, I'm tapped. And so I go. The Instagram started becoming a thing. Then it just kind of started to bubble. And on Instagram, who do I see? Miss Spaghetti. She has an Instagram account.
Yeah.
So I'm done. I'm done with the marriage. I'm about to just, I'm finished with it. I had made enough. Now I told her we need to split for a minute. Whatever, this, that, and the other. I thought it went over smooth. No, that's women have this thing where they be like, yeah, okay, all right. Then they come back around and it's like da 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 da, and that's what happened. And so
Yeah.
and so I was like, so we did that, and then we went to right after that we went to counseling with my former pastor, and when we went there, it was like a whole lot of just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I told him, now I was so close to him, I used to call him Pop. He'd say Pop, whatever. And I told him at this particular time, I said, Pop, this don't make no sense. I said, I don't mean no disrespect, sir. I said, but what business does it make or sense does it make for my wife to come to you when it's time for her to have sex with me?
Right.
This is exactly what I told him in his house. And I said, I don't mean no disrespect. I said, I'm married to her. She's married to me. Why is she coming to you when it's appropriate to be with her husband? I said, no. But that night we got nothing resolved. And he said, you know what? After all was said and done in the argument, even in his house, he said, yeah, y'all need to split for a while. Y'all have some things to work on. But
Yeah.
brother, when we separated, we never got back together. When we separated, we stayed separated till we ended up getting divorced. Like I was saying, by this time, Eddie then popped up on the ground. I'm saying hey to her. And I reached out to her because her daughter had a little girl. And I was like, congratulations on being a great grandmother, boom, boom, boom. But that opened the door again for me and Spaghetti, just by me. And I knew one time I reached her on the book and I said, forgive me for da 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 da. And later on, I found out she didn't respond because she thought it was my ex-wife trying to see if she was going to respond to it.
Right.
And so that was one time that I did that. Then when the gram, like I was saying, when the gram came around and I reached back out, this time the conversation was different. So by this time, I'm going through the separation. I'm about to be out the door. So now I'm really entertaining Miss Spaghetti again. But it started with the phone calls, the reaching out to us. Once I left the house, when I left the house and was sleeping in our van at the time, when I left, I was going from hotel room, the whole hotel room, then Spaghetti showed up. When Miss Spaghetti showed up, we done spun the block. It was like 2000 all over again.
Yeah.
So now through separation that's going on, now Miss Spaghetti is back in the picture. So I got all of this happening. The separation, now the ex-wife saying divorce, now Spaghetti is saying that's why. So I got all of this happening. And at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like I'm being pulled. I'm like, the more Spaghetti spoke, the more it sank her voice was the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody could tell me nothing. Nobody could say she was wrong. Nobody could say she was in error. Nothing. But what she has this persuasive or had this persuasive way of bending your mind to conform to what she wanted it to conform to. If I'm making sense. And anytime you bend somebody's will to do some kind of other intent that's not conducive, that's witchery. And I didn't used to label it that, but when I thought about it, I said, but if it's do something contrary to doing good and it's doing something, brother, there was times I had her on the phone listening to when me and my ex-wife was going back and forth. And she would
Right.
text me and say this, say that, say this,
Man.
and ask this. She had that much mind control
Man.
over me, bro. That much control.
Man.
And so, I didn't learn a whole lot about what it was until I met Sabrina, the one I mentioned to you. When I met Sabrina, and Sabrina began to share some stuff with me, she said, no. She was like, Nate, no, that's a whole nother thing there. I've had leaders pronounce stuff over me. My former pastor pronounced something over me that it took somebody on the other side of the church to tell me that's witchcraft.
Right.
That's what made me get so enamored with what it was about, because this person who said never received that from nobody speaking over your life, especially something that's cursed. They told me, bro, that if I ever left them, the ministry, that everything I touched was gonna crumble.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
curse over you, man.
a
That's a curse.
curse. Yeah,
Yeah. That's a curse.
anything. I'm getting chills telling it. Anything that I touch will crumble. The snakes were gonna hiss at me when I walked by.
Yeah.
Nothing I do was gonna prosper. And as I sat there, I laughed it off because I was unknowingly. I thought they were just saying something. But that one member on the other side of the church after service came to me and said, "Don't you ever receive nothing like that from nobody spoken over your life ever
Yeah.
again." From that person, from that person, introduced me to books in spiritual warfare, books from Africa, books from pastors and leaders that deal with that kind of thing on a regular daily basis. And it made me open my eyes to a whole lot of things. But when it came to Miss Spaghetti, I was dumbfounded. And I had the teaching and the knowledge of what it was. So by this time, I didn't have the books, I didn't have the information. But when it came to her, when we spun that block again, and I done the gram and all of that, and met her. We done met back up after that 20-year gap because I was married for 20. So after that was going off, she popped back on the scene. It's like boom. I heard somebody say this, and I try not to be preachy. I heard somebody say this. You know when you're ready for your future, when your past wants you back.
Yeah.
When your past wants you back, your future is waiting for you. It's ready for you.
That's
I
deep.
kept spinning the block, and when I spent the block this time with Miss Spaghetti, brother, it was hard to get away. This time it's tougher because I end up having now I'm at a place where I have my own place, so
Right.
now she can come at will. Have
Yeah.
my own place. She can stay as long as she wants. Now it changes everything now, right? It changes everything. And so there was something she said to me that made me really believe that it was witchcraft. She kept saying that I can feel you. I didn't know what that meant. She said, I can feel you. What's going on? I can feel you. And I was like, what? You can feel me? What? Because I never heard that. She said, Nathan, I can feel you. I was like, what do you mean? I really feel you. This, that, da. And she would go in to saying whatever. And I was sitting there and out with me because they was in the church. I said, "Oh, well, that's probably the Lord, this son, but we do, how we do. Oh, the Lord, this so." But from that, from that, and from times we was doing what we do, and I heard you say this in one of your clips. You have to be mindful even in that time what you say while
Mm-hmm.
you engage
Mm-hmm.
and what we
Yeah.
engage in. Because
Yeah.
there was a lot of things that was said, like, how we do this is nobody else, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll be there forever, and
Yeah.
all kind of things. And
Uh-huh.
they said what really was eye opening, and I'm cutting, this is 20 years, so I'm cutting and pasting a lot, bro. Forgive me. They said something to me. They said, "You would never find a woman like me ever that can do you like I do you." That made me say, what? They said, "You would never." She said, Spaghetti said, "I'm the only one that has the oil for your life. No other woman."
That's crazy.
When I shared that with Sabrina, Sabrina said, "No,
Yeah.
no." I said, I was shocked she even said that. So when she said that, bro, it really, but see, it was like, she didn't send it all to me at once. It was like every now and then, certain stuff. But
Right.
when she said that, I was like, what? Nobody, I would never. I
Yeah.
said, okay. And so that's when I was like, no, you need to reverse, return the sender,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I remember times, bro, we be laying in the bed, man, and at 4 o'clock, she could wake up and just start talking like we doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Lay down. What are you doing? It's 4 o'clock. And she would just raise up and da and go back to sleep. It was the strangest thing ever. Or I would be laying in bed and I wake up and they're staring at me.
Yeah.
That
That.
was the bruh. That was the
Yeah.
most eerie. I was like, so I would be laying there and it's like I could hear a voice say, "Wake up." And I'll open one eye and they're staring at me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and so I remember one time they did it. I said, "What are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
She was like,
Yeah.
"Nothing." She was
The
like,
witching
"Nothing." I
hour.
said,
Yeah.
"Yeah." From 3 to 5, is it? Something like that,
Mm-hmm.
from 3 to 5. And I was like,
From 12 to
for 12.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing? But it was like clockwork every morning. They would get up just like that and they would just da and just go back. Or they'll be staring at you like this. Just the strangest thing.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Oh, nothing. Nothing. And so
Yeah.
I remember her mentioning to me about astral projection,
Projection. Yeah.
where you can peek into people, and I think that's you're like between you're half asleep but you're woke or something
So
like that. I'm not familiar.
it can happen when you're half asleep, but it's essentially when your spirit leaves your vessel and you
Yes,
enter the spirit world and you can travel freely.
yes. So I work with some people, some nurses who told me they have friends that do it. And I
Yeah.
said, really? So I said, so that's the thing. She was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine, African nurse from Kenya, and she was a sheriff. She was like, yeah. She said, I have plenty of friends that do that. And I was like, no way. And so she was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can literally. So Spaghetti said she's familiar with it.
Yeah.
Also, her ex-husband's family dibbled and dabbled in roots
Mm-hmm.
and different things where
Yeah.
she felt at one time she told me that they put something on her because for 30 days she was unable to use the restroom, where
Wow.
she had to physically take her hand and make herself go because she couldn't. And she believed that his mother put something in the food,
Hold
which,
on. Wait a minute.
yeah,
Wait a
yeah,
minute. Wait a minute. Good
yes,
God Almighty.
yes, sir.
I
And
thought
I
I
said,
had it bad.
yeah,
Thought I
yeah,
had it bad.
yeah. So when she told me that, I was like, what? She said, yeah, well, I had to take my hand and go up there and physically remove it because of something that they put in the food. And so I'm not a stranger myself because I had two aunts that used to do it. They used to dibble in that. I had one in Jersey that's passed away, and my other aunt that was here in the state of North Carolina that passed before she stopped though. She converted her life over. I don't know what it is that she saw or whatever that might have scared her to the point where she said, "Okay, I got to leave this alone completely." But so I'm not a stranger to it. But when she told me that, I said, "Okay, I never heard that." She said I
Yeah.
had to physically make myself go by taking my hand, and so I know it's in, yeah. So I know that it's in their it's in their circle or it's in their. And so I was like, oh wow. So we bring me to the food, or why I call her Miss Spaghetti.
Okay.
So um, I was I told I had a whole list of jobs. Amazon was I was there at one time, and she made spaghetti. She made spaghetti, and brother, I ate the whole pot. I ate the whole pot of spaghetti, and she was like, "You ate the whole pot?" I was like, "Yeah." So she was like, "I'm gonna make you some more." I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, "Hey, it was good." She said, "But I'm gonna make now." Being who I am, I know they used to say, women that have whatever they put blood in the
Yeah.
food and all this kind of stuff. My thinking was since she had this particular thing with her body and she don't have them, I'm good. However, we know there are other
To
ways.
get some blood. Yeah. There's
There's
other
other
ways to
ways.
get some
Uh,
blood. Yeah.
yeah, there's other ways, and you can whether it's semen or
Mm-hmm.
some kind of bodily fluid or
Spit,
some
hair,
kind of
feet,
yeah, and
feces.
so yeah, and so I don't. I was like, but see, I didn't think about that then. I'm thinking, oh, she can't have this, that, and the other. So, but now later on, I'm like, well, what could they have put in? So again, it goes back to Sabrina telling me she was like, "You ate this?" I said, "I did." She was like, "No." I was like, "Yeah, I did." She was like,
Yeah.
"It could have been." I was like, "Ah." She said, "Did you eat a lot of it?" I said, "All the time." She said, "Did you ever see her cook?" I was like, "No." And brother, I never seen her cook it. She
Yeah.
said, "Did she ever eat it with you?" I said, "One time when I was there with them, they ate it, but no. A lot of times they would bring in the food to me." And she was like,
Yeah.
"No, I don't." She was like, "Nate,
Yeah.
I think. So to go on, what happened as far as me being here where I am now, and like I said, me having my own place, and we did dibbling and dabbling, and me going to church. And at the same, now all this is going on, and I'm still an elder. I'm still. But by this time, after my divorce, I have left my old church. Me and my former pastor, we weren't clicking. When the divorce happened, I felt like he chose sides. I'm just be honest. I felt like he
Right.
chose sides, and I was like, when I hear stuff coming across the pulpit, to all leaders, sometimes I feel like if it's private, let's keep it private. Certain
Right.
things
Right. Right.
shouldn't. So I've been hearing certain things, and it's something when my mother is on the other side of the church. And she's looking back here at me like this, and I'm looking at her like this, like we know where it's coming from, right? So I'm like, okay, I want to stay in church, but maybe I just need to move. And so I didn't make a whole lot of noise, bro. I didn't make a scene. I left quietly. I went to somewhere else. That's where I'm at now. And so I haven't really ministered. Well, I can't say I haven't really ministered because a lot of what I do now is like this, or it's on the outside. It's in the marketplace, whether I'm encouraging somebody or I'm trying to lift somebody or give somebody hope or whatever it is. It's not so much now in the parameters of the four walls. It's more so now when I run into somebody and something's going on, or I just try to speak life into people, right? And so I left, and when I left there, where I'm at now. So I haven't ministered behind a pulpit setting really in maybe about 5 to 6 years. And so all of this is going on with spaghetti, my own place, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm still an elder at the end of the day. I'm still, priest at the end of the day. I'm still, saved at the end of the day. I'm still battling.
Right.
One day in church, I heard it so clear. I heard these words, and the words were, "Cut it off."
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard, bro. It was cut it off, cut it off, cut it off. So I'm trying, maybe my mind.
Right.
So I'm going back, I'm
Right.
going back with my head down. I'm listening to the choir sing. I hear it again, cut it off. I said, so thinking nothing of it. I hear it again. By this time, I'm thinking in my mind, and the tears start to come out my eyes. And I'm like, I know what this is. I don't know what this is. I still fought with it. For her, it wouldn't have stopped. It would have kept going. Everything that we was doing, it would have kept going. But for me, when I heard that, I said, I got to stop because man, we was doing what we doing here. Then I go right to the church I'm at now. Just like I had been doing in the past, I was repeating the cycle over and over. And so when I said that to them, the last time they cooked for me, and I know I shouldn't have ate it. I shouldn't have ate it. This was April 2024, before Easter. They asked me what I wanted, and I said, I'm thinking we cool, so I didn't think nothing about it. I was like, I just want a meal for Easter. Just, some ham and collard greens and something, just a home cook. She was like, okay, cool. That ain't no problem. Brother, she cooked all of that.
Yeah.
All of that. She cooked every bit of it. Did I eat it? Yeah, just about. I ate just about all of it. I did. Honestly, I ate just about all of it. And that was the last time she cooked anything. But that's also the last time she stepped foot in this place.
Mm-hmm.
Because from there, and I did that with the food, it still, God was dealing with me so strongly that I said the best thing for us to do is you stay on your side and I stay on mine. Because when you can even come visit, we end up doing extra stuff. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, I can't. I said, I'm trying to. I said, for one, I didn't, and this is what I told her. I said, for one, you a whole prophet. I'm an elder. We're hindering one another by doing what we're doing with the call on your life and mine. And I got some kickback, bro. I got some resistance. It was some kickback. But God
Yeah.
understands. God knows. God, you can be in church, and this may not be for them, but for anybody, you can be in church so long that we can throw them scriptures out there and we try to
Mm-hmm.
make them fit whatever
Mm-hmm.
scenario we in.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's still wrong. I don't care. You can flip it how you
Yeah.
want to. It's
Crazy.
still it's still to them to know to do good and not is sin. No matter how you try to flip it, no matter how you know, I'm like, no, we can't. So her thing was, so you gonna just stay away from me and other. I said, if this is what it takes for us to live a life like we supposed to live, I'm gonna just have to do it. Now, it was not easy. It was not
Mm.
easy.
I bet.
Again, I was fighting. I had some fight and some resistance. And one day, I think that somebody in their family got sick. Cause we had stopped talking. Somebody in their family got sick, and I reached back out. So when I reached back out, the energy was different. Now the energy shifted, and it's like, so why you calling me? So what you want? It was kind of one of them things. I was like, well, I heard, your peeps going through this, that, and the other, and all of this. Now, when they were more open with me, they were being guarded. Like, I ain't really got to say too much to you, really, really. And so I'm like, okay, so, so what's up now? Me, at that time, I'm literally fishing because I'm missing them. Let me just be real. I'm missing them, and I'm trying to see if we still at least got some whatever. And if she would have came over, I'd have been in trouble again. I'm gonna be honest, I'd have been in trouble again because that thing was that strong. But I was I was reaching. Let me be honest, I was literally reaching
Yeah.
because there's a lot of what I come to find out. There's a lot of shadow work we all have to do. We
Yeah.
have some shadow work we all have to do. One of mine, the biggest one for me is lust. Lust is one of the biggies for me. Me seeing a pretty woman and she was, forget about it. I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm gone. And she better not have no dip when she walk, bro. I'm in trouble. I got to pray. Lord, Lord Jesus, help. I got to listen. I got to help me, Lord, because yeah, she better not have no dip when she walk. She better not smile. She better not be submissive. I'm in trouble. If she talk like she, yes, sir, I'm gonna blow it. So we all, we all, listen. We all got some. Yes, we all got some work that we have to do. I need. I got some ego work. I have to be, have to work on my ego, pride, different things like that. But the shadow work, those things that envy, that lust, and all that greed, all those things. My biggest lust, that was cause my father was a player. He was just who he was, and I didn't think I had it like that, but yeah, yeah. Cause she better not give any. I'm like, oh my goodness. I want that bad when I was married. It was, I'm good. But being
Yeah.
a single man, it's tough when you're married too, because you be like, okay, yeah. But when you're single, like, oh my God. So I was reaching. I was trying to see, but it felt like the energy with her had shifted and changed. And so she would, it's something about how she would start an argument, I felt like. And I'm like, what are we arguing about? It's like it was always friction or something. And I'm like, why are we arguing? Whatever. And I felt like she was trying to push me out or push me away or whatever. I could never put my hand on it. One night, I wanted to see him bad. I wanted to just talk. It probably would have led to something else, but I wanted to talk. They said, I don't know how to get to your house. I said, wait a minute. You've been here, stayed here, ate here, slept here. And now this is the kicker, bro. Spaghetti lives 20 miles from where I live at. 20 miles. I told them, I said, I can literally walk to where you are and
Yeah.
find it. I said, how is it you can't find where I live? I said,
God.
okay. So I said, okay. I think you're trying to tell me something. I said, okay, cool. So we had a little blowout then, and I think I was sharing with you one of the worst things you can do when you have a disagreement or whatever you have going on, even in an individual's home, is go to social media and post it.
Yep.
That's a thing. We were going to the book and we'll throw shade or we'll throw
Mm-hmm.
subliminals. And I'm like, it was 5 minutes. You were just on, and you post this. So
Yeah.
that was my reasoning for blocking them on the book. I went to the gram, 5, 6 minutes apart. You post something else. I said, here we go. So I
Yeah.
blocked them on the gram. So for me to get away this time, I had to block them everywhere, from phone, Facebook, from Instagram, anywhere they can get up with me. I had to block them. That still didn't make it easy. Even with me trying to block them, there was a lot of times that I wanted to unblock, and I did. Even if
Right.
it was for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. I was like, I just got to hear them. I got to hear their voice. I got to hear that soul tie thing is so strong.
Yeah.
It is so strong.
Very.
No matter the length of time, bro, I still was like, I gotta hear from them. I got to see them. I gotta da da da. It was showing up, and it was showing up in my work ethic. It was in a flat to my sergeant was like, what's wrong with you? Because I'll be at work, but I'll be like, it's just space. I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just there, bro. I'm just
Remember them
there.
days.
It's like I'm just there, and I can't really. I'm trying to get through, and my sergeant like, you need to get yourself together.
Yeah.
We don't do that right now. I'm like, Star, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Yeah, it is. You need to shake that off. That's what it was like. You need to shake that off.
Yeah.
What happened. Da 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 da. Even with hearing all of that, bro, it would get good for a minute, then it'll come back. It'll get good for a minute, and I start missing. It get good for a minute, and I start missing. I feel like I can make it, then it come back again.
All right.
So that went on for a little bit, but I started having night visions. I would wake up in the middle of the morning and feel like they're in the house
Right.
for whatever reason. There would be a bunch of mornings I would get up. And it was like, if I didn't know any better, they was either in the bed with me or they either spoke in my ear all night, because I would get up and my whole day would just be off.
Yeah.
And I'd be walking around in the room like, why? They must have been. I mean, I would literally think that they was in the house,
Right.
because I'm like, she must have been here last night or something. I'm like, what is going on? Now, through my life coach, he said, I believe that while you're sleeping, your name is being chanted or your name is being mentioned while you're
Yeah.
resting. So
Yeah.
while we're sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
things are going on while we're
Yep.
sleeping. The Bible speaks, yeah. So, the Bible speaks on that while men slept. The enemy came and planted tares in the field. We sleeping and people up doing stuff while we sleeping. I'm like, it's amazing. I'm up, cool. When I go to bed, I wake up with them on my mind, like heavy,
Yep.
like real heavy. And so I told Sabrina this. I had a vision. I had a dream, a vision that and this was a couple of months ago, bro. I had this dream. We was in a room. She was on one side and I was on the other. But between us was a black figure. The black figure was talking to me. and wouldn't let me talk to her. I didn't tell Sabrina. I told a little bit to Sabrina. Sabrina said that's somebody else in the picture. But now, after talking some more with her, that was that spirit spouse.
Yeah.
That when you try to get it's like when you get ready to show enough fall in love, he shows up and say,
Mhm.
no,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, so it was right then in the vision. So I kept wondering. I said, "What was that?" I knew it was demonic, but I kept saying, "What was that
Yeah.
vision?" So now that I thought about it, I processed it. I said, "That was a spirit spouse in between me and her." That's why we don't. We'll get, bro. We'll get like we about to, and then all of a sudden,
So
so
let me ask you this.
yes,
So while you were sleeping, did
yes.
you ever get sexually attacked in your sleeps? Like, did you ever have like wet dreams? Did you wake up with bite marks on you, claw marks, scratches, things like that?
There were now not far as a wet dream, but there was times I woke up and my arm was hurting, and it wasn't that I slept on it. I probably would be laying like this, like my arms out. This would be in pain, or it was feel like somebody had been twisting or something, but not so much as I can think of as far as a wet dream. Now my ex-wife used to wake up like that.
Okay.
She woke up like that. Now it was through the person from my old church that I told you who told me to not to receive anything like that. That's spoken over. It was her that told me she believed my ex-wife had a succubus. I didn't even yeah. So I've been I've been battling with some things for a minute, and I was like, what? And a lot of times, that's why I just have to be honest. That's why a lot of times there are women that are single
Yeah.
for because they already married in the spirit to
Mm-hmm.
something else.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I
So yeah.
studied spirit spouses after I got attacked by Lovejoy Lacey's. It was 4 o'clock
Hmm.
in the morning, like you said, man, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it hit me in the head while I was laying
Mm,
beside her. And I
mm.
heard a voice say, leave. It told me to leave. And I got up and I left.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm like, hey man, I ain't gonna argue with you. I got
Yeah.
up and I left, and she ended up telling me later on that the thing had came to her and essentially threatened her and told her, if you don't leave this man alone, I'm going to kill him and you won't have him. And we ended up falling out later, but she continued to deal with me, and she told me that the more she dealt with me, the closer
Hmm.
and closer the thing would be getting to me. The last time she saw it, it was standing directly behind me.
Oh.
This woman shut down. She shut down to like a child. She balled up in the fetal position, man, and she was just rocking. I'm talking about trauma. And
Oh man.
so I understand. I
Yes,
understand.
sir.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the most surreal thing to me. I said, man, what in the world? It literally felt like somebody in the room, or was in my bed. Now, what I started doing, or I not started doing, what I did do, because she had a lot of items left around here. I took them items and I got rid of them. Every one of them, whether it was, no matter it was a bag or
Right.
shirt or things like that was laying around that she had. There was even a pillow. I forgot that there was a pillow she bought that was in my bed.
Mm-hmm.
And as I prayed, God started revealing certain things to
Yep.
me to get rid of.
Yep. Yep.
That was the beginning of me breaking free this time.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wait, I kept praying. I said, there's a pillow she bought. I said, no wonder. Because it's like I kept having these dreams every night. Or I get up, like I was saying, I get up and I feel like she's in the room. I'm like, what is? I said, the pillow. I took that pillow, threw it out. Or I go in the closet. I saw shoes and stuff, all this kind of stuff. I thought, I'm getting rid of that. So I started getting rid of stuff and got rid of it. Now, as I said with Sabrina, I don't have those dreams like that no more. The only one I did have was the one that I said, what you just said, about her on one side and me on the other side, and that
Man.
shadowy figure
Yep.
in the middle. And I never
Yep.
thought about it until the other day that is a spirit spouse standing between me and her. Part of me wants to reach out and tell her. I don't know if she will receive it. I haven't spoke to her. So last time when we had the falling out was September of last year, but she haven't been here physically since April of last year.
Okay.
So we kind of. But the last time we spoke, and that was a bad it was a bad engagement. So I really want to reach out. I don't know how she will receive it though, but I saw that vision. God has never given me a dream like that before. Not like that, where there's something between that city. And I mean, me and the spirit spouse were in the vision. We were having a conversation.
Right.
We were just having a conversation. I was like, and she was on the other side of the room, silent, just walking back and forth. Like she wanted to come over, but she couldn't. And I said I wanted to share with her, and I said I don't know if she would
What
receive it.
what was the spirit spouse saying to you? Because the first thing came to mind when you said, because it's crazy how similar our stories are, but I get the first thing came to mind when you said something was standing in the middle. If it didn't attack you, or the first thing came to mind, an angel or an ancestor or a spirit guide or just your protecting angel. It's a spirit
Hmm.
that protects over you. So if it's standing in the middle and she was pacing, I'm thinking she pacing trying to figure out how to get around that spirit to get to you.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh wow, wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
I'm thinking she pacing trying to circumvent the thing in the middle. And if it's talking to you and it's not attacking you, maybe it's talking
Yeah.
to try to
Oh
help you.
wow.
You know,
Wow.
that's the
Wow.
first thing
Wow.
came to mind because spirit spouses are
Wow.
violent. There was not,
Okay.
and I mean this is just my personal experience, in my
Yeah.
opinion. You know,
Yeah.
when there was not one time where me and that girl spirit spouse had a conversation. Every time it saw me, it attacked me. It either attacked
Wow.
me or it would get to her and tell her, you kick him out now, or you
Yeah.
leave, or I'm gonna take him out. You know,
Wow.
it was very, very protective of her because the thing about the light and the dark, man, when you
Mm-hmm.
bring them two together and they trying to coexist, either the dark gonna pull you or the light gonna pull the
Yes.
dark.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when me and this girl got together, I've been gifted since I can remember. I come from a family of prophets and women of God.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
you know,
sir.
I
Yes.
grew up watching people get demons called out of them, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know what it
Yeah.
is to be normal. So
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
um
Yeah. You're right.
I began to teach her about God because that's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes. Yeah.
sit
Yes,
down
sir.
and talk to me long enough, I'm gonna bring up God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm talking to her about God. I'm telling her, hey,
Yeah.
go do this. You know, I got this girl in therapy. She in therapy getting healed about her trauma.
Wow.
She praying now. And when
Oh
that
wow.
spirit spouse got wind of that,
Oh
man,
my
it
goodness.
it started tearing her and me up.
Wow.
And
Wow. Wow. Wow.
she
Wow.
would go through this phase once 1 week out of every month. And I
Mm.
think part of the contract or whatever she had with this spirit spouse is for this thing to inhabit her body for a week. Because she would always tell me every month during the same week of every month, hey,
Mm.
I can't see you right now. I can't see you right now. I feel like we should take a little time apart. But I'm like,
Understand?
I want to know what this thing is.
Yeah.
And I asked God, I said, God, I want you to show it to me, but don't let it harm me.
Whew.
This
Yeah.
girl came over my house, man, and this thing sat on my couch. I will never forget it. Her eyes were jet black. And I'm looking at this thing, man, and it's so much hatred being spewed at me. My stomach started turning inside out. I'm sweating.
Yeah.
I'm shaking. I'm in the
Yeah.
presence of something very demonic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to just talk to her, and all I can hear is God saying, "Stop, stop. You're not getting through." And
Wow.
I just sat down and
Mm-hmm.
she just stared at me.
Mm.
It was a predatory stare. You know, it was a predatory stare. Like whatever was in front of me wasn't human. And
Wow.
a couple days later, we spoke again, and we had a conversation,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we spoke about it. And she explained to me what it was. She said it was the spirit was how it appeared to her. It was a black shadow figure with yellow eyes and
Mm.
a yellow smile. It was always smiling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Wow.
know what that I looked into that after that, man. I couldn't find anything on it, but whenever it came near her,
Mm-hmm.
she shut down. She shut down. And I never saw it, but I always felt it. I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
felt it. And it was bad, man. So that's why I was saying, like, if it was a spirit spouse and standing in between you and her, it probably would have attacked you. I'm thinking it was
Wow.
an angel trying to save you, for protect
Wow.
you from her coming over to that side, because she pacing trying to figure out how to come get you.
This is blowing my mind. I'm literally
Yeah,
blown right now. I'm literally, my
yeah,
mind is blown. Real, my mind is
yeah.
blown right now. It's blown because everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of times when me and her were out, they would ask how long we've been married. We're not married. We were married, but they were like, how long y'all been married? How long? Da, da, da. And they would stop and stare, then
Hmm.
speak, whether we was out eating, they'd come up. But one person, we was in the mall. One lady, one Hispanic lady, got off the elevator in the mall, and I've never seen this before, bro. She walked, got right in front of me and her, and she stopped. She said nothing, and she just stopped and she did this. And I'm thinking, do you know her? You know, in my mind, I'm thinking, do you
Right.
know her? You
Right.
know, but this lady says nothing. I'm like, this is the strangest thing. And she stood there for a minute. And I'm like, is it somebody on the other side? But she was looking at me and her, and she just stood there. And I said it with my life. I said, I never had that happen. She said what it was. She saw the spirit spot standing behind her.
Yep.
Blew my
Mm-hmm.
mind. It's blowing my mind right now because I said no way. She was like, Nate, yeah, that's why she stood there like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's never happened. Usually people will speak how long you been married, woo woo woo, this, that, and the other. This Hispanic woman stood flat footed in front of us and just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was gazing and she stopped. And I'm looking at her, she's not saying anything. So I'm like,
Right.
cause women, sometimes women will pop off like,
Right.
hey, what's wrong with you, but she's
Right.
not saying nothing. So I'm like, what is going on? So there was something spiritual going on. I was so
Right.
gone because I had who I had with me. I wasn't thinking about, the spiritual part because it's a spiritual battle anyway. All this is
Right.
spiritual. And I'm not thinking that it might have been something said that I didn't even hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was something
Spirits
said.
exchanging words.
Yeah, there's something going on because I'm like looking at her, looking at them both, and I'm like,
All
hey,
right.
what's going on? Even after that, she never acknowledged that it was strange.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sitting down. So by this time, we sitting down on the bench in the mall. I'm like, what in the world was, I'm like, what in the world was going on with that? She just kind of like, it was nothing. If something strange like that happened, usually you kind of try to dissect it,
Right.
try to
Right.
go into, but it was like she didn't want to go into it. I didn't ever think about that either till after the fact, until
Yeah.
things like to where I am now. And I'm like, I wonder why we never discussed that when it happened. We discussed everything else, or how people say how long you been married, but we never talked about that instant when that happened.
Right.
That lady stood. She was probably no more than 5'2", 5'3", and she just stared. And I said, I never thought about a spirit spouse been standing behind her.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you like I was saying earlier, bro, when you think church and ministry, we think that excludes, but no, it don't. It
Mm-hmm.
don't. It don't mean you excluded from being attacked from the hand of the enemy or going through trials and tribulations. In this life, we're gonna have them. You're gonna have trials and tribulations. The Bible tells us that. But I'm saying, just because we say, "Oh, you're in the church," that this can't happen. Because some people, we come from all walks of life, and so I'm thinking, my mind, I'm thinking, "Oh, they're in the church, da da da." This can't be because I've seen them operate in their gifted. I've seen them speak
Right.
life into people and they cry and break down and all this kind of stuff. And right at the flip of a dime, they can snap back and you don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
It's
Crazy.
the craziest thing. It's like, wait a minute, what you just and they were just crying and night. I can't put my hand on it. And I'm like, wow. So the gift is all, the gifts of calling are without repentance. That gift is there. But then they will flip and it's like nothing. Like you do know. I'm like, okay, all right. But to say with this Spanish woman, that she was the only one that ever done that to us when we was out. That stopped and stared like that. And it just freaked me out because I was like, all right, well, what are we doing here? We're in the middle of the
Right.
mall, all these people, and you
Right.
just, And I think I did try to say something to the Hispanic lady, like, good evening. She said nothing. She
Yeah.
didn't put her mouth. She didn't say anything. She just gazed at Miss Spaghetti and just looked. She just stared. And it wasn't until, like, the journey I'm on now that I couldn't find out, yeah, she was looking at that spirit spouse behind her. No
So
way.
during the time did you ever go to God and ask God to reveal to you what it was that you was going through? Because I know for me, God gave me signs along the way. And with me
Mm-hmm.
and my wife, so I prayed to God for my wife when I
Mm-hmm.
was 16. I went on a 4-year fast. No sex,
Okay.
no none
Gotcha.
of that craziness, just me and God.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of that fast, I got money, I got a car, I'm stable. I said, God, I want my wife. At the end of the 4 years, I told
Mm-hmm.
God, I said, I want my wife. I said, the woman that you made for me, send her to me.
Yeah.
And he did. And it's ironic, man, because I met my wife in the mall too.
No way. No. Oh wow. No
And
way.
when I saw her, I knew right away
Yeah. Yeah.
she's my wife. And I never knew. It's my first time being married. I'm young, man. So
Getting
I
married.
always thought that when God brings a marriage together, that it's this divine, peaceful,
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never thought that the devil would attack it so hard. I never thought that the devil would be able to attack it so hard.
Yes, sir.
But I fasted 4 years. My wife
Hmm.
didn't fast. So she was still unhealed and pissed off and traumatized. I'm healed, ready
Right. Yeah.
to give myself to her.
Yeah.
And when I met my wife wasn't even a believer. So I'm like, God, you sure? So I say that because there was a lot of doubt in the beginning as well for me and my marriage.
Hmm.
And that's what caused me and her to separate, because when she got pregnant, she went through postpartum and she became a mean black woman.
Understand. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
became a
Hmm.
mean black woman, man.
Hmm.
She treated me like I was a speck of dust on the bottom of her shoe,
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
she refused to get help. She just got worse and worse and worse. So we separated. And when we separated, I met Lovejoy Lacey.
Hmm.
She took me through what she took me through, and I learned so much from her. I
Hmm.
learned so much from her, but I kind of went off topic, but my question is, did you ever ask God what it was that was happening to you? Because he showed me on multiple occasions this woman at her altar with candles, hands like this, praying to her altar, conjuring stuff up for me plenty times.
Hmm. Right. Right.
No doubt in my mind that
Right.
that's what she was doing. She even
Right.
tried to kill my wife. And then my wife had a vision, and it was revealed to her that, the girl sent something for her to try to kill her to leave me alone.
Oh,
So
wow. Wow.
it was a lot, man.
I never asked God what it was or anything. I just kept going on the premise of this is not right. So I didn't never go to God and pretty much I believe that I was afraid for him to show me. So
As you
yeah,
should
I
be.
didn't so I didn't never
As you
ask
should
him.
be.
I was just like, okay, I just need to cut it off. I need to cut it off. Because I felt like for me, I feel like if we're both, and this was my thinking, bro. I feel like we're both in the church. How is it God dealing with me and not you about it?
Right,
How's
right.
he dealing with me and he's not dealing with you about it? What is, and how are you justifying this and feeling that it's right? And we both know we're out of order. How is it so? If anything, I try to be a stickler of order when it pertains to the. I'm not always good at it, of course, but I try to, But it's 20 something years ago. I'm like, okay, God, you spoke to my former pastor to say this is not the one. And then, the member showing me on a conveyor belt and getting zipped up in the bag. Okay, boom, I walked away, da da da, this, that, and other. Now here I am 20 some years later. I'm right back with this person, and now they're not married, and here I am. At that time when we was dealing, I was going through I was about to hit the divorce. I was separated, so I'm going through. So I'm like, you telling me to cut it off again? Now in my mind, I'm trying to rationalize with God. Is it because of I'm not completely divorced, or because of this is just not the one? Now what is It's like what we
Question.
don't. Yeah, and so it's like what we don't want, we won't. You feel what I'm saying? So or what we know is not no good for us. We seem to go after that even harder. And I
Yeah.
knew that the way the situation was set up, bro, I should have backed up. But it's like the more I backed up, the more I wanted. You feel what
Right.
I'm saying? And so I never really asked God specifically or to ask him to show me. But I kept thinking, I said, something's not right because we would get, like I say, bro, we would get close, it feel like, and then all of a sudden stuff start happening. Or
Hmm.
we get close for a minute and then stuff start happening again. And I'm like, I don't get it. If I could call them like right now at 3 o'clock and by 6 o'clock something didn't happen. I'm like, what is going on? We was
I think that's God trying to think. I think by something always happening, that is an answered prayer. A lot of times we
oh,
ask God for something, and then God may take a little while to do it, but we'll ask about it and forget about it.
and forget about it. Yeah.
And
Forget
God
about
will be, we'll be living in an answered prayer, and we ask it for something else, not realizing like
it.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We living in what we asked for a while back, but I think you're living in an answered prayer, man. And every time something come up, that's God saying, back up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and so it was,
Yeah.
and it was like the more I backed up, the more they applied pressure. I
Hmm.
backed up, the more they applied pressure, and that's what happened. That's what got me those years ago. Because even with me saying, "Listen, stay away, you're married," they even went even harder. It seemed like they went even harder. It's like they could, in my eyes, they could do no wrong. They knew everything they knew how to make me sing, you know what I mean? They know how to they hit every right note. There was no wrong.
Crazy.
Everything
Yep.
there was no wrong. And so
That's how the devil come to you, man. He
yes,
comes in
yes.
the form of everything you think you want.
Yes, and it was like, oh man, this is what I'm talking about. The personality was good, the submissiveness was perfect,
Yep,
all of
yep.
this kind of stuff. And man, and like you said in your clip, you have a woman that's submissive.
That's it.
You really do.
Hey, it's up. It's up, man. It's up.
Yeah,
It's up.
submissive.
Yeah,
Forget about it.
it's up.
With
Yeah.
all gas and no brakes,
Yep. It's
man.
up. It's up.
It's like
It's
no
up.
matter how you try to pull away, it's like that
Mm-hmm.
thing is strong. And that's why I said with the soul ties and even the words, the affirmation words we say
Mm-hmm.
when we're engaging, all of these things I didn't find out till after the fact. So I said if I ever, go around or be in another relationship, wherever that come, I'm mindful now of
Right.
things I say or words of affirmation,
Yep.
like, what's up, Bay and Boo? I'm like, I'm even careful with Bay and Boo now. You ain't gonna get me on the Bay and Boo now. So now I'm really careful with stuff because we start those intimate play words start
Right.
leading into other
Right.
things and
Right.
start
Right.
opening up. So now I'm really careful. But those words, like you said, when you engaged in what we're engaged in and things, and I was like, man, I said a lot of this. I even made promises that I would never leave. And yeah, Sabrina did the same thing you did. She said no. She
Yeah,
said,
hey man, that's
yeah,
not it right there.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
essentially sex magic, and a lot
yeah,
of time, man, you are creating contracts with words.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you're creating
yeah,
contracts with words, man,
yeah,
and once
yeah.
they get you to covenant into that covenant, it's up.
Man, you know what? She told me one day when we had stopped, because like I said, we'll be off and on because I kept trying to pull back,
Right.
and so one day I'm sitting in her house after we had broke off and come back, and she was wondering about the silence and all of that. This freaked me out too. I had a bunch of occurrences, but this freaked me out. This woman, Spaghetti, looked at me and a tear came out her eye. She said, "Don't ever do that again. It wouldn't be good." When she said that, I was like, "What you mean?" I'm like, "So what you saying?"
I
She
want
was
to know
like,
too.
"Yeah, yeah." I'm like, she was like, "Don't ever do that to me again. It won't be good." And the tear was running out. I like a Fatal Attraction movie or something. I was like,
What was she talking about?
she, "Yeah." I'm like, "So what you mean?" And she just gave me this stare, like, "Don't ever do it again." And I'm like, so my mind was always inquisitive, but I never asked them, did they dibble or dabble? I just heard some stuff they said, but I was piecing stuff together over the months and times. And like I said, that I shared with Sabrina, and she was like, "Nate, this is
Yeah,
something else. It's not what you think, and she's not good. This is not good."
yeah,
And I was like, I remember her looking at me saying that, and it was the strangest look I ever seen, bruh. Like, "Don't ever do that to me again. It just wouldn't be good." And I was like, what?
yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So
That's dangerous, man.
right. And so, with that being said, when she said that, and we reached the point where we are now, I noticed, like I was saying, I started having them night visions. I get up and feel they in the house. I'm like, so what? And that's when Spring was like, "Yeah, your name is being chanted around or saying around, or she's doing something." Because we can
Yeah,
call people, we can call people into our orbit by just keep. And I was like, "Why is she on my mind?" Yeah, I was like, "Why is she on my mind so heavy?" I'm just, she's like, "Yeah, your name is being called in places." This, that, and the other, and the third. And I'm like, what? What in the world? Still, because I'm trying to, again, I'm on this journey. Not that I didn't know, I just would try to put it on them. Because I was trying not to accept the fact that they would do that.
right.
But,
I get it.
yeah, I'm trying to be nah, they wouldn't do that to me. But the evidence is there. There's some other, and they would do this. See, I'm trying to get it all in, so I'm bouncing around. They would come and see me and take their hands and do this.
To you?
Yes, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and, yeah, they would every time. I'm like, "Why are you in my face? Why you?"
Mm-mm.
And then they would take their hands and rub it in my hair and just
That's
do this.
your crown chakra.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so
your
they do
crown.
it. They did it all the time, and they would just take my beard and do this, and then they would do this. Then there was one time that they would just bite me for whatever reason. I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, man.
It was just the strangest thing. But I was like, they would take their whole hand and just do this and just
Yeah.
all in my face and stuff. And I was like, what about?
did they ever have any oil on their hands? They could have been anointing you, demonically anointing you.
Not that I know of them having oil. I remember them having something in their house that was like a oil. It wasn't. It was an oil bottle, but they said it was oil for your hair, but it didn't look like oil for your hair to me. It
Yeah,
had like stems in it, and it was a clear bottle. No, you and I know
right.
it's a yellow color looking kind of
Yeah, yeah,
yellow.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
extra virgin whatever
Yeah.
oil. So so you know what I'm saying. So I'm looking at this bottle of oil. I'm like, but this is just for your hair to help in spots in your hair. Da, 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 da. And I remember them putting that in my hair, and I didn't even know it at
Yeah,
a time.
yeah,
So
man. They was trying to do something to your crown chakra. Your different chakras in your body are linked to certain aspects of you. I don't know if your sleep is directly related to your crown chakra, but I wouldn't be surprised.
wow. She would literally do that. And I was like, I remember a time years ago, the first time we was, doing what we did. And I was, like I said, I was getting in the church and stuff. I had a bottle of oil and they was doing some stuff one day so bad. I grabbed the oil and I did like this. And she says, did you put oil on your hand? I said, I
Yeah,
sure did. She was like, why you put oil on your hand? I said, because something ain't right. And this was
yeah,
way back, way back. She was like, why you put all of, but I don't, if I remember correctly, she never touched me that day. We was
yeah,
just back and forth, but I put all on my hand. But I'm thinking, all right, you just cutting. She was just doing stuff. So it would be time, like I said, be times. Well, even actually, there was times I feel like, and then it would get
yeah.
close. And so it's just like every time you think it's cool, it'll flip, just like that. So for me, like I said, I went to blocking. I said the only way I'm going to be able to stay free is I'm gonna have to block
Mm-hmm.
from all communication. There was a time they even came to the house last year, probably the end of last year. They came to the house, and I looked through the ring alarm, and I said, I'm not answering, because if I let you in, I already know it's going, because
Yeah.
I wasn't that strong. I already knew you
So,
come in.
you go ahead.
No,
I
no, no,
want I
no,
want
no.
to ask the question.
Yes, sir.
So when she came to whenever she came over your house, did she ever ask permission to come in, or because I know for me, whenever the woman would come to the house, she would never enter unless I gave her permission. She would never sit down unless I gave her permission. So like a demon or like an entity, she did nothing unless I gave her access. So was it the same thing for this woman?
You know what? I do remember me having the door open and say, "Come in." I don't remember there was a time being that she just stepped in the house. There was times there's a lot of times I said, "Come on in." One time I told her to come on in. She started going through the closets.
Uh-huh.
Strangest thing. I was like, what are you doing? She was opening up doors in the closets. She was going through my clothes. I was like, what are you doing? So I'm just trying to see something. And I was like, so she was going through.
Well, spirits hide in dark and sometimes dark places. Spirits hide in bathrooms. Spirits hide in clutter. So
Mhm.
who knows? Maybe she was
Yeah.
planting something on you. I know with the woman I was dealing with, she wanted to bring over a crystal and set it beside my bed. She said, I charged this up and I want to put it on your dresser and you can't move it or to break the charge. And I looked at her, I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
nah,
What?
nah. Cause I,
Wow.
I asked her, I said, what did you charge it with? And she was just like,
Yeah.
my love. And I'm like, nah.
Oh
But
man.
it makes me think about this story, man. I
Mhm.
remember I told this one on TikTok, but I didn't really go into depth about it. It was a lot like your story, except God intervened immediately.
Mm.
So I was in the Marine Corps. I was dealing with this woman that I met in the Marine Corps. She was cool back then, but she was married. I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
I just thought she was a pretty girl, but I didn't. She
Yeah.
had she had a, she had a stank attitude, so I ain't deal with her.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So some years go by, we get out, and us as veterans, we have like a community.
Hmm.
She was on social media making posts like she was getting ready to, So I messaged her and I'm like, hey, what's going on, Devil Dog? Because we Marines call each other Devil Dogs.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what's going on, Devil Dog? All right. And she was telling me, I'm going through this in my marriage, and I just found out such and such. Well, he did this, he did that, and I think it's over. We've been married for such a long time. We got kids. We stay together. I'm broken right now. I was going
Mm.
through something in my marriage as well. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
connected. We just talking,
Yep.
vibing, and we ended up getting closer than we should have. But my
Gotcha.
thing was we never had
Yeah.
sex. Never had
Yeah.
sex.
Okay.
But we got close and she caught feelings and I began to
Hmm.
enjoy her. I know better. I know that there is another man's woman don't belong to me. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not about to fall in love with a married woman. You know,
Man,
I don't care what y'all got going on.
that was my mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm like, she's beautiful, but you and this man got 3 kids together. Y'all been
Hmm.
together almost 10 years. You done known me for like 4 years. You not finna leave him for me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
All her kids by him. You not finna do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much you say you in love. I ain't no
Mm-hmm.
dummy.
Yeah.
So I asked God to reveal to me what was
Mm-hmm.
the purpose of this woman being in my life. Because anybody that I get involved with, I'm going to God. My mama taught me, no matter what it is, go
Yeah.
to
Go
God.
to God. Yes, sir.
And I've
Yes, sir.
always done it. So
Yeah.
man, I tell because she was also gifted as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one night, and I say, before we get too deep,
Mm-hmm.
let's go to God. Let's go to God. I said, go pray and ask God to show you who I am to you, and I'm gonna do the same. We
That's
come back
good.
the next day. We
That's
have the
good.
same vision, the exact same vision. And that
Wonderful.
vision is we link up, we have sex, she gets pregnant, and her husband kills me, and she becomes a single mother. And she calls me crying and was like, I saw you die. And I call her toe up because I'm like, I saw me die.
Goodness.
And I was a little hard headed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, God, I know you ain't gonna protect me from the thugs and all of this just to
Come
let me
on.
get, killed
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And I had already booked the plane ticket to go see her, and she had got the Airbnb. So, we had this thing plotted.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I asked God, I said, if it's meant for me to see this woman, let
Mm.
that flight get delayed.
Mm.
I'll take losing the money on the account of being stupid,
Mm-hmm. Come on.
but I would rather you take my money than my life.
Mm-hmm.
The time came up, bad thunderstorm that day.
Look at here.
Flights got canceled.
Come
And it
on.
and it just so happened that her car broke down.
No way.
Her car broke down,
Man. Oh my God.
and guess who came to fix her car?
The husband. The husband. Yes, sir. The husband.
I
Brother,
said,
I know what you,
I
yeah. I know what
I
you're
said,
talking about.
I said, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
I said,
My
I hear you.
gosh.
I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tell her,
Man.
I say, Shawty, God said no.
Yeah.
She busts out crying, but God is love and He understands our love. I say, Shawty,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
it.
say,
That's it. That's
I say,
it.
God said no.
I said no.
That's
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
it.
That's it. Oh my
That's it.
gosh. Wow.
And I had to cut off, and she was upset about it, but
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
alive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I gosh, that right there. Now that resonates with me strong
Yeah,
because there's a lot of times where I was, at my old job where I met a Miss Spaghetti at that. It got to the point where her husband started coming to the job to pick her up
yeah,
because I was unaware that his cousin worked downstairs,
yeah.
and so his cousin was telling him the information. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to kind of show up, kind of show your face or something, whatever.
Yeah,
And so one day when he did, we were standing out looking out the window, and she comes over to him. I said, "Oh, your man pulled up." She kind of dismissed it like, "Oh, he only trying to do X, Y, Z because he already know that it's done with, it's over with." My mind, I'm young at the time, I'm 20 something. At my mind now, I'm thinking, but he's about to get in the car with him.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? But at that time, I didn't. At that time, I didn't connect the dots. But I should have been like, "But you about to get in the car with him and ride."
yeah.
So I mean,
Can't be too done with him.
yeah, yeah. So you can't be too done, right? You
Right.
about to get in the car and ride with him, and whatever else y'all did when y'all got to the house. But at the same time, I guess what I felt for him, and I was doing what I wanted to do. It was like whatever. When you're young, you do young stuff. Though I was just like, but I'm like, he's showing up to the job, started coming by my house, to my his then wife, and this, that, and the other, and it had just got so, it was so bad that my mother was like, because I at that time I was living with my mother, and she was like, look, you need to do something about this because I don't need him coming by here, and I mean, that's that man wife. At the end of the day, that's that man wife. You can't
Exactly.
justify
Yeah.
nothing you saying. You can't justify.
Right.
At the end
Right.
of the day, no matter how jacked up it could be or is, they still married.
Right.
So you need to have to figure this thing out. Man, this woman, bro, there's some stuff I haven't even. This person drove behind me all the way to Washington D.C. in their own car
Mm.
to follow me all the way there.
Yeah, they
And
probably
people
finna do something to you, man.
followed me all the way there in their own car because I told them
Yeah,
I was going with my family. We didn't have no room. They took their car and followed me all the way to Washington, all the way, and stayed. We stayed in my cousin's apartment in Washington, just like you would have thought we was a married couple or something.
right,
Folks on the job was trying to figure out where we go. We both took off at the same time. Now they think we down at the beach or somewhere. We way up north, way up
right.
north. Follow me there. But I mean, just there was no limitation to what if she felt she wanted to do. It was no limitation. But at the same time, I started now years later. I'm bouncing back and forth. Years later, when we reconnected, life has happened, and now I'm like the same way they hooked you. Who else you think they doing it to?
Yeah, that's a
Who else
good
could
question.
who else could they be entertaining? Because you're a whole man. You know what you like. There's somebody else that like the same thing that you like. And I'm watching them move about in public. There's no kind of guard. They're like pretty much it's the word I'm looking for. Seductive and inviting. Like, come on.
Right,
And I started seeing certain posts that she was saying towards other men
right.
that I'm like, wait a minute, that's a little far,
Mm-hmm.
what is this? And so when I called them out on it, their response to me was, to them it don't mean anything. To you it means everything. I'm like, that's not gonna work. If I was
Yeah,
16, 15, you might have got me.
yeah. Right,
That
right.
ain't gonna work now. That's not gonna work. So I started I was like, I know somebody's praying or had prayed for me.
Yeah,
I kept, like you said, those signs mean something. And so there were certain things I kept seeing, and then hearing the voice of God saying to cut it off. All
yeah,
of these things was just adding up for me. I need to pull back, and I need to make a drastic change immediately. And so that led for me. Then when that argument happened, I said, "That's my exit." Because for me, myself, I'm just gonna keep. But when it got to that point where I shut down, I said, "Okay, I'm gonna have to block here, block here, block here, and just move on." Doesn't mean I haven't had a struggle, because sometimes part of me still had that thought, but I
right.
don't sit and throughout the day like, one time it was bad at one point in life. It was just bad, but now those thoughts may come. I'm able to better maneuver, through life. Sometimes though I couldn't. It was hard. It was literally hard because I felt like I said, I felt like they was either in the room or what have you. And I remember sharing with them one time when we were dealing with each other. I said, I actually feel you. When I said that to them, now all this time they used to say it to me.
Right.
When I said this to them, it blew her mind. I don't know. She was like, I've been waiting for you to say that forever. What it feel
Yeah,
like? Da 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 this and da da. Yeah, it was like that thing lit her whole day up when I said that. And I
that's
said,
crazy.
I literally feel you. She was like, what? What it feel like? Finally, I've been waiting for you to say that. Da da da. And I'm like, and now in my mind, I'm thinking, do people or women in general, do they maneuver to a way where they try to get men to, because when the Bible speaks about, the love making, how, the two become one and
Right.
different things. I wonder if that the aim of a lot of women, to try to get that so that they can feel one another. And now maybe I'm thinking broad, because I know the Bible was speaking on as in married, but women, when it's just outside of marriage, are they trying to get it to that point where they can feel that other person, or feel that, see what I'm saying? Like they trying to get tied up to that person, even though they're not married.
There is there's a word or a definition for that. It's called tantric sex, or
Tantrums. I gotta
tantric
write that down.
sex, or the practice of tantra. It literally means the joining of two souls or something like that. But it's when you have sex in such a manner, it's a spiritual version of sex. And
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, you don't even orgasm during the sex. You just focus solely on one another. And the purpose is to take two souls and combine them into one. So it's almost ritualistic. I remember a lot of what was done, man. And so she put a reflection spell on me so that whatever she felt, I felt.
So
But
that
yeah, a reflection spell. But what she didn't know was whatever I felt, she would feel. Because at the end of the day, I got free will. And as much as I thought I hated my wife, man, I love that
Yeah,
woman.
I understand.
I
I
love that
understand.
woman.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I didn't hate her. I
Right.
was hurt. I was hurt. She had done. I got on one knee. I fasted for 4 years. I went to God about you, and you spit in my face. Essentially,
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
God said
Yeah.
you the one, and the enemy is treating me better than my wife.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, on a flesh level,
Mm-hmm.
she felt better. It
Mm-hmm.
was wrong, and I didn't realize it was wrong till about 6 7 months in, because I was confused, because she
Mm.
would do little subtle things that was ungodly but
Yeah.
still questionable. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she would grab my hands and trace the inside of my palms, and then
Wow.
ball my hand up like this right here, and then close her eyes and mumble some things and open my hand up. And when I asked her what was that, she'd be like, nothing, come on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think anything of it back then.
Right. Right. Right.
She would
Right.
trace things over my face, like you said, playing with my face
See.
and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
My wife's name is tatted right here on my chest,
Mm-hmm.
and my name is tatted on hers.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when I got a hairy chest, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
think that this woman would see it, like all of this tatted. So,
Right. Right. Right.
my wife's name shouldn't stick out. That's at
Yeah.
least me thinking like a man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My wife was like, she saw that tattoo. She saw that tattoo. As a woman, she saw that tattoo,
Yeah. Yeah.
because she would always trace things over my chest, and she was
Dang.
essentially trying to manifest my wife out of the equation. So
Bruh.
it
Wow.
it it was I learned a lot from that woman, man, and it was crazy. I was meaning to ask you, what ethnicity was that woman? Was Miss Spaghetti?
Black.
Okay,
Black.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Black.
the woman I was dealing with was black and Dominican.
Which brings me back to the Hispanic woman in the mall.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody else that kind of stopped and did that was black. Hey,
yeah,
y'all married? How long y'all been married? Da da da. But that one Hispanic woman stopped and just like in the middle of the
yeah,
mall, and
yeah,
that freaked me out because I'm thinking, and I used to ask Spaghetti Woman, what since you're a prophet, and I used to put on the spot. So since you're a prophet, what is the Lord saying about us?
yeah,
I would
yeah,
just
yeah.
that's not how it worked. That's not. I said no, but I'm just wondering. So the Lord haven't told you, you haven't downloaded anything.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm like, well, you a whole prophet, you a whole elder
yeah,
as well. The Lord is not, because God is dealing with me profusely. So I'm
yeah.
like, He ain't told you anything pertaining to how we moving and how
Right.
I find that odd. Either He's telling you and you just ignoring it, or you what's what. And it was like, no, I
Hmm.
mean it don't work like that. I'm like, I find that strange. And so that day when the Hispanic woman did that, I was waiting for her to say something.
Right.
Do you didn't find it? But we never had that conversation, as if she didn't want to get into it. Everybody else who kept saying you just that and other and other, we would have a whole diatribe about it. This incident, nothing.
It
Nothing.
makes me wonder, man, because I had to learn this. The
Hmm.
girl that I dealt with, she was prophetic as well. She gave me a prophetic vision about me. And I remember it to this day, man, because it was tripped me out how the enemy can prophesize over your life, man. It's wild. But
That man,
um
yeah.
she she said, I saw the sky, and the sky was filled with stars, and there
Mm,
was stars all on one side of the sky, and then
mm-hmm,
there was one star off in the loneliness, but it shined the brightest. And she
mm,
said, you were that star. And she said the other stars were trying to dim your shine. And she said it doesn't matter. Wait, she said it didn't matter what they did to you. It didn't matter how much darkness they pushed you away.
mm.
You always shined brighter. And she told me, she said, keep on shining no matter what happens. Now, imagine hearing that from somebody who's putting spells on you, man. Imagine how confusing that is. The enemy operates in confusion, man. They will give you prophetic visions. They will say things to make you think that they're heaven sent. Whole time they're demonic. They're on assignment, and that's what was confusing for me, because I'm like, you sound so divine.
Yes,
You
yes,
you behave so divine, and you make me feel better than my wife ever did.
yes, yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
when I went to God about this woman, and
Mm-hmm.
I asked God, was she for me? Was
Mm,
she? Because I'm thinking, I'm like, man, my wife obviously ain't it.
mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that. Let me tell
Mm-hmm.
you how crafty the enemy is, man.
Mm,
It's crazy. My wife favorite color is lime green.
mm-hmm.
Favorite flower is a sunflower.
Mm.
This woman, Lovejoy Lacey's favorite color, lime green.
Oh my
Favorite
goodness.
favorite flower, sunflowers.
Man.
My wife hates scary movies. We bump
Mm-hmm.
heads on that. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Lovejoy Lacey loves scary movies.
Wow.
My wife hates, it's this ice cream called Moose Tracks ice cream. It has Reese's
Mm-hmm.
cups
I've
in it.
heard of it. Mm-hmm.
And she hates that ice cream. Lovejoy Lacey loves it. So when I want to watch scary movies, she down. It felt so genuine.
Yep.
But when I close my eyes at night, that's when
Mm-hmm.
all the demonic activities happen. And God is showing me and revealing to me what's really going on. And
Mm-hmm.
when I met this woman, man, when you dealing with a truly demonic spirit, man,
Mm-hmm.
they operate at a very low frequency. And with that
Mm-hmm.
being the case, they bring certain things with them, certain low vibrational activities and different calamities with them. When this
Yeah.
woman started coming over my house, she brought bed bugs with her. So she would come over and my house is infested with bed bugs. Nowhere else in the house but my
Wow.
bed, but my bedroom.
Wow. Wow.
But my bedroom, man. I learned later on because I did what you did, man. I threw away everything. Everything that she touched, it went
Yes,
away.
sir.
Yeah. And I pushed up my mattress to throw away the mattress. She had been tying off her hair around my bed frame. I saw pieces of hair tied around my bed frame, man. And she placed her ring. She had a copper ring, a copper snake ring that she had. And she placed it somewhere in my living room. I never could find it.
Oh man.
I threw away the
Wow.
whole couches. I threw away both of them. I had a sectional, man, out of here, out of here.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah.
threw, hey man, I wasn't playing. I wasn't
Yeah.
playing, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it understand where you coming from when you say a
Yes,
lot
sir.
of the things you do because this
Mm-hmm.
woman, man, and if you met her today, she'll be one of the sweetest. To this day, she is the sweetest woman I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
She's so
Mm-hmm.
soft spoken and so
Yep.
submissive and so
Yep.
docile. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You yell at her and start crying. She that gentle. You know, when them doggone lights drop,
Yes, sir.
you go into
Yeah.
that altar.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And she get lifted,
Man.
you know.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A
So
whole
I
nother person, yeah.
and see it was Sabrina that told me. She said you need to lift up your mattress and see if anything under there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what? She said, yeah, you need to lift up and just check. I lifted and I said, okay, I didn't see anything. Doesn't mean she didn't have hair or something tied, but
Mm-hmm.
I know when I prayed, I heard vividly that pillow that I used to lay on. I used to lay on in the bed every night. And when I got rid of that pillow, something broke.
Yeah.
Something broke.
It's
The
crazy,
only
man.
like I said, the only other vision that I had was her on the other side of the room and me on this side, and in between us was the figure that was sitting there between us. That's the only vision that I had. Before then, I was having dreams like I'm getting up, like, oh my gosh, this thing, it feels heavy. I can't. It's like I can't shake it. I can't shake it. Like I said, there's times where the thoughts have come in and out now, but they're not as strong. Around that time, they was very strong. Like it would just set the course for the whole day. Like I couldn't even function.
I get it. How to man.
Yeah, it was
So
very heavy. But like you said, I threw all that stuff, man. The clothes, items, stuff, pots, whatever, out of here. Out of here. Shoes, out of here. All of the trinkets, socks and stuff, out
yeah,
of here. They gotta come. I went to tossing everything out there. So it got to go. It
yeah.
got to go. So
I
yeah.
get it, man. I
Yes,
understand
sir.
100%. So what I'm thinking is, man, she probably had a crystal that she had enchanted inside of your pillow, or maybe something that she had enchanted inside of that pillow.
Oh,
People can
wow.
enchant anything, so she could have enchanted the pillow itself.
Wow.
And I'm thinking she had a crystal because the old girl, she wanted to give me a crystal bad, and what she would do is she would take hairpins, wrap her hair around it, and leave it around the house. So in my bedroom, she had a bunch of them in my bedroom, in my living room, under my sofas, and in my truck. She had them everywhere.
Wow.
She was deep into it, man. And whenever I came around her, she would always ask to see my hands. Like we'll be talking, and she'd be like, trying to see my hands to make sure the sigil that she placed on me was still there.
You what? Wow.
Each time I linked, cause she had a hold so strong on me that I couldn't pray. Every time I would pray, I would get a headache, man, and it would feel like somebody was twisting my brain, and I just felt so disconnected.
Yeah.
My mama told me, "Don't you give up on God, cause He don't give up on us."
They don't give up on us. So
So,
no, that's
man,
right.
I
Yeah.
didn't care. I pushed through it, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it got to a point to where I was able to pray a little bit. And the
Yeah.
more I
Yeah.
prayed, and the more people I got behind me, I had my mother, my auntie, the church. The more
Hmm.
people I got behind me,
Yeah.
the more concerned she got.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I was sitting for me. My breakaway this time was so hard because I felt like Spaghetti was there when I was going through one of the roughest parts of my life. When I was going through the separation and the divorce, she showed up, and
Right,
so I felt like I was loyal to her because she was there when nobody else was. So
right.
she was that. She was like you said. She was that comfort.
Mm-hmm.
That she was that place of I'm lonely. She fulfilled that. What I needed, she fulfilled that. And then she would just sporadically send money. Hey, you need something for lunch? Boom.
She was the
I
same way.
wasn't. I
Same way.
wasn't used
Yeah.
to that, bro. I wasn't used to
Mm-hmm.
that because even my ex-wife
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't do that. So now
Yep.
you got somebody showing up in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed like it's genuine.
Yeah.
You pulling towards that because you're
Yeah.
missing that because you
Yep.
never
Yep.
had it. So
Yep.
now all of this feels so good to me because I've been so through the whole while I'm trying to figure it out, trying to move and trying to do this that. She was there for everything. It seemed it's like she was there when I was at the bottom. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think for me, I felt like okay, I feel like I'm loyal to her now, and that you accept anything. That's a big misconception. If you're gonna do something for me, do it, but don't hold
Yeah.
it over me because you did it.
That's why
You
they
know,
do it, man. That's why they
yeah,
do it.
yeah, and so she was there in that time. But there were times, like you said, they would pop in and out, or I wouldn't hear from them for days. Then they show back up or something, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Like when Father's Day came around, I didn't hear nothing. Not even a
Mm-hmm.
happy Father's Day, and I'm a dad. I didn't hear nothing. I'm like, I find that strange. Nothing. I mean, for anything, not a word. So to say all that to say this, I thought that because they was there at my lowest, I felt like I felt the necessity to hold on to them, even though no matter the heck I went through
Yeah.
or the things I experienced, I felt like because they was there at that point in my life, then I need to try to make this work. But the more I tried to make it work, the more all these kind of other things was going on still. And so when it did, like I said, at the end of September, when it did blow up, and I went to blocking, that was a battle in my mind. Try to at least because of the history, or do I at least try, or do I reach out, or do I keep my distance, or how? I'm glad I kept my distance because if I did at that time, we'd have been right back in the same. We'd have been back in the same. Yeah, because I wasn't as strong, and even now I still have to fight because even being single, I still have to be careful because even before then, I still had some in and out relationships with people that I met or dated or something, and it went a whole nother way. And I'm like, okay, that done gone too far because I wanted that companionship. Because when you go from being married for 20 years and now there's nobody there, that's a
Yeah.
major adjustment. You like,
Yeah.
I'm used to
Yeah.
somebody being here. The house
Right.
is quiet. I
Right.
don't hear the
Right.
kids no more. The kids are with their mother. I don't hear the noise. I don't hear. And so you
It's
start
different.
trying, yes, you start trying to find that comfort wherever you can find
Yeah.
And so I've been there. I've done that as an elder, as a priest. Like I said, I'm not ashamed. Battle with porn. I even started at one point in time. I started trying to drink a little bit to try to ease to whatever I was going through. So I was trying to find all these avenues to fulfill something, and none of them were fulfilling. I'm gonna just be honest; they weren't. They were not fulfilling. But it can push you when, like we said earlier, when that crack is there. That's all the enemy needs is that crack,
Yes,
and
sir.
that crack is there, and all these other things. And if you don't handle it, or you're not cognizant that that's going on, that's the root of it. If we got, that's what we need to get to the root of the matter, to get to the root of what it really is. Because I don't think I was just battling with loneliness. I think the root of that was rejection or feeling
Right.
rejected. Now from rejection birthed in loneliness, bitterness, resentment, unforgiveness. All these doors for the enemy to come in. And so, and not shutting them doors, now he's having a field day. So now when
Mm-hmm.
I do get that feeling of no matter where it comes from, I'm gravitating towards it.
Right.
So that goes back to the shadow work we was talking about, that I'm
Mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
lust thing and all this
Yep.
stuff and all these things. But yeah, so but now from I know then it took me, like I said, being around people, ministry that are serious about the work, that are serious and not, and that's hard these days because sometimes folk be playing. But people that are
Yeah.
serious, that their mind are made up, and just staying in the Word of God. Because I had stopped reading the Bible when I was going through my divorce. I started reading. I kind of gave up. I'm serious. I kind of gave up. I wanted to quit, but the church I am in now, this pastor reached out and asked me, "Am I good?" Nobody had asked me that. Now, in my old town, I'm very well known as doing stuff in the ministry, whether it's preaching or singing or whatever. But this one pastor reached out and asked me, "How am I doing mentally?" Nobody had asked me that when I was going through. He was the only one. He received me since then, and I've been there since. It's like, this I'm going to stay, because when I was going through that bad patch, when I was about to give up on everything, he extended his hand. He didn't try to put me in the pulpit and do all the other things. He said, sit. He said, just sit and let God heal you.
Right.
Sit and let God heal you. And so I'm really on the backside now of going through the kind of the last phase of healing. I'm not in a rush to do stuff like I was doing before. I'm just allowing God to do what he's doing to me. Now, if I do, like I was saying, if I do run into somebody out in the public, I don't mind giving a word or giving an encouraging word, not to be preachy, but just to be, inspiring and encouraging. And I find much joy in that than standing in trying to, whatever, in the church setting, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I find great joy in what I'm doing now. Just going
Right.
out and I bump into somebody and they going, or they have something on their mind or something, and I'm able to encourage if I'm able to. And so, but yeah, so I've been there since, and allowing God to heal me, bro. And so I haven't talked to Miss Spaghetti, and like I said, part of me do want to reach out, but I'm like, I don't think it
No,
is.
please don't, man. Please don't. Tell you how God told me. God said no.
Yeah, yeah,
God
yeah.
said no. And Lovejoy Lacey taught me a multitude of things. And by the way, me and my wife today are better than we've ever been.
Wonderful, wonderful,
We
wonderful.
sat down, man, and we spoke about it. We got through the ugly.
Yeah.
Our old apartment, let's just say I ain't get that security deposit back.
Uh-huh. Got you. I got you. Yep, I
All
got you.
holes in the doors, holes in the
Mm-hmm.
walls,
Got you.
we tore it up.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I got you.
We
I
tore it up.
got you. The scripture when he was with Elisha,
Mm-hmm.
and he was surrounded with
Mm-hmm.
Elisha, saw he surrounded.
Right.
And he prayed and he said, "Open my servant eyes that he may see what I see.
Right.
That it's more of us than it is against them.
Right.
All you need is God.
Yep.
You can take the whole city. You ain't gotta have a whole army." But he
Yep.
saw the multitude and
Yep.
he got discouraged.
Yep.
And he prayed, he said, "Open his eyes that he may see what I see." You said Elijah, brother. You tapped on that one. That thing that got me. But yeah, so I have to be, and that's when I even say to myself, even if it's just me, it's not just me, I got God.
Yep.
And as long as I got God, I can do anything. I can take the
Learning
city.
that.
Yeah, it's nothing that's insurmountable. So yeah.
I'm learning
So
that, man.
yeah, so Spaghetti might see this one. So, but it's just, it's
That that's why I told you to read what you did before we got on the call.
thank you for that. That was a
Yeah.
power. That was
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
That was powerful. I almost
Yeah.
went up when I was reading. I said, "Oh my goodness!" I said, "This is a good one, right?" I said, "Bro, what you doing?"
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good one. I said, "Man," but yeah,
So if you
wow.
had to give a closing message to the men and women, young, old, white, black, just people in general,
Mm,
from your experiences, what
mm,
would you tell them?
Boy, where do I start here? But there's so much that I could say here, based on what I went through, and this is gonna be just gonna be plain right now. Don't ignore the red flags before you get into any relate, or you considering male or female trying to speak with somebody in a relationship. Sometimes God will reveal things before you even go far.
Mm-hmm.
When those red flags show up, pay attention to those red flags. A lot of times it's our flesh that want what we want. The flags are there. I saw those flags years ago, but because it sounded good, smelled good, felt good, looked good, walked good, talked good,
Mm-hmm.
I threw all the flags away, bro.
Yeah.
Don't miss the flags. That's male or female, because men, we are what we are expositors, and women we deposit. I think that's what it is. And women, they take we projectors, and women, they take in. So women just as well, because they have to be careful too, because I know men, we kind of move around, but women move around as well. So it goes for both. It
Yeah.
goes for both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the incubus and the succubus. Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta be, yeah. But I would say don't ignore the red flags. If you are in a situation or have been like what me and Roy talked about today, there is yet hope. There is a way of escape. Get up under, if you're not already, get up under some sound doctrine, leadership, find a strong church. And I know that's, wherever you can find a strong church, separate yourself. The Bible says, come out from among them, be ye separate. Separate yourself. The only way you're going to be free is you're going to have to stop dibbling and dabbling. You're going
Yeah.
to have to stop dibbling and dabbling. When you're dibbling and dabbling, you open that crack.
Mm.
And that crack is open. You feel like it's all right. Then other things start happening. You have to stop dibbling and dabbling. I had a problem with that. I would dibble and dabble. Go back. Now we back at square one again. So for me, it would be find a sound, a real on fire for God church. On fire. This is what helped me. This is what's helping me. A church that's on fire for the Lord. Is it perfect? No. There's no perfect church. Let's just be honest. There's no perfect. But find you a church that's on fire, where the glory resides, where the spirit of the Lord lives. Find you a house of God like that. Get under some sound teaching, some sound doctrine. Be careful what you entertain.
Yeah.
You must be careful when you entertain. Be careful where you go. Be careful who you are around. When you're going through a phase like we've been through, you can't be hooked up with everybody. You
Yeah.
just can't. And I know a lot of people don't like to walk. Sometimes this walk can be lonely.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be lonely. And that's even being married sometimes, because sometimes our spouse, when I was, they don't always fully understand the full scope of the picture. And we have to ask God to reveal it to them while we walk. Because how can two walk together except they be agreed, right? So we have to be mindful and be prayerful always. Will you make some mistakes along? Yeah, you probably will. Of course you will. You're human. You're going to make mistakes. But when those flags are revealed, don't ignore the flags. Do not
Yeah.
ignore the flags. Pay attention to read the room. Wherever you
Mhm.
are, read the room. Watch what's going on. These are things that I do on the daily. I'm just watching, looking, listening wherever I'm at. And even when people try, there have been some relationships that try to come now, but the flags will come early. I'm like, oh, that's a flag. No,
Right. Yeah.
no, I can't. No, I can't, because I look past now and look into the future. I don't know if that makes sense. Don't just deal with the now. You see it now and it look good, but listen. I always say this: listen to what's not being said. We hear a lot of what's being said, but listen to what's not being said. Don't just see now. See 10 years from now. Can you see 10 years from now
Yeah.
with this person? And I like what you said, Roy. Pray and ask God: is
Mm-hmm.
this the one? Is this the one that I'm going to build this future? Like, for instance, if I get sick, can she take care of me?
Right.
Or if she gets sick, can I take care of her? Can she maintain the bills properly?
Right.
I know I'm going way off the. I know I done jumped off the deep end with this one, but yeah, there's just some things that we should consider before we figure we're gonna jump into something serious. Just some things that's to relay out there. And don't be in a hurry. Take your time. Just take your time. If it were me, and I say this to a lot of people now. I have more days behind me than I do in front of me. So I'm to the point now. If the Lord sends it, to God be the glory. Now I'm learning to be content in my contentment. That if it doesn't, He's still God. So I don't know. I hope I answered your question correctly, because
You did.
I
You
was jumping,
did.
I was going,
You did.
but
I mean,
yeah.
it ain't a right or wrong answer, man. I definitely appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Roy, thank you so much for having me on
Yes,
your
sir.
platform. I know I try to condense it down with 20 years of everything that been happening, but I try to hit some key points. I hope I was a blessing to your platform. Just thank you so much for
Yes,
choosing
sir.
me
Yes, sir.
to
Thank you.
tell my story. And keep me in prayer
Yes, sir.
as as I
Oh,
journey on and do
yes,
the
sir.
will of God. So thank you again so much for having me, man. I thank you.
Yes, sir.
I
Of
do.
course, of
Yes,
course, of
sir.
course. You
I
have a
appreciate it,
wonderful
sir.
day. You take
You do the
care.
same. Yes, sir. You do the same. All right.
Man, listen, I hope that you learned a lot in this episode. Thank you for attending and making it this far. If you feel called to donate, my cash app is $Gabriel Gilmore. If you have any questions or any inquiries, you can send them to the Roy C. Gilmore podcast at gmail.com. I check it daily, so if it's anything in there, I see it. Also, if you like the music that you heard in the podcast, you can find it on all streaming platforms. Just type my name in. That's Roy C. Gilmore. Type it in, I'll pop up. But outside of that, what were some of your takeaways? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, holla at you. Deuces.